the moment that I connect from my childhood to spirituality is in judo. When you finish the session or the training session, you stay on your knees in front of the master. Cameras. So I'm a coach in the national team. I'm here with these things in my head, giving petals to a Hindu person, and this will be in Portugal. And this is not good, like
change the angle.
Changing the angle to not get.
No, that's the thing. Just wearing like wooden necklaces already. People are just like, what is this? Like, why would you wear a wooden necklace? Something as small as that, like you're on national TV being made fun of because of the Tulsi Mala.
Exactly. I start to share his teachings, but how can I share this with this person first and with this athlete? This will help him as a person, and in consequence will increase his performance. We have to go inside. How to go inside? You have to believe you, have to trust you. When I drop myself there, I got themselves because I did it. So we are here in a fair relationship.
When I used to talk in the temple, I used to give satsangs, I was always concerned, how much should I share about myself? Trust is established. Then, once trust is established, here's what I have to share with you because I think this will really help you.
And it's so simple. It's just said, you are 100% focused only when you are doing what you love. The concentration, the focus comes from the heart, because it's when you love, it's from the heart, not from the mind.
What happens with a guy like that, who's so adored by people, like put on a pedestal by so many people, right? Must be really difficult for the ego. Jai Gurudev Sitaram.
Jai Gurudev, Swami.
I am very happy to have you here on the podcast today. Sitaram is one of my closest friends, and I'm very happy that finally we can sit and have this conversation in front of the cameras. Right?
Yeah.
So Sitaram, before we dive into what we want to discuss today, I just want everyone to get to know you a little bit. What's your background? So please, I hand over to you. Tell us a little bit about who you are in your professional career, but also how you then came to Bhakti Marga.
So first of all, thank you very much to be here. Very happy to be here in your podcast. That is being a very successful product. Thank you. So how I start? So in the childhood, I was a normal kid with a normal childhood with good parents. They got divorced when I was 3, but I always have them present in my life. Very good father in the teenage moment that helps me a lot. Also, a very present mother that spoils me a little bit all the time. That I was a little bit unfair with her sometimes. But then, regarding my personality at the time, it was like I was focused to become a PE teacher. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a sports guy. I always loved sports. My father belongs to judo. Mm-hmm. So since I was 4, I was practicing judo. Then I changed to handball. Then I changed to football. That maybe was a mistake, but we'll see after. But I was focused to be also in the teaching part. It was always something that calls me, sharing the thing. Even during that youth moments that we had in football. So between like 14 or 19, I always had the aim to become like a coach or PE teacher, school, working with children, but in the professional part that or more relatable more related to with the sports precisely. I was always with the idea to become a coach. Mm-hmm. I remember once, like I was doing a warm up because I played in 2nd division at the age of 20. That I was trying to see if I had possibility to have a career or not in football, in professional football.
As a player.
A player. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the talent for that. I discovered that. So I hold my studies and start university. But I remember that I was in a warm-up in the game and I was receiving the ball because I was a goalkeeper, average goalkeeper, but I was a goalkeeper. And I remember that this is boring. Yeah, imagine in a warm-up before a game, and I was thinking, this is boring. Like, so something was not calling me, like, or I was not having the passion for that. But I know that I have the passion for football. So what happened, it was that I was at the aim to become a coach, and I used that experience in average level, second division, third division, and I combined with university studies. I studied sports also, so I combine. And at the age of 28, Sporting Lisbon, that is one of the biggest clubs in Portugal, football clubs in Portugal, or soccer, because your podcast is international, so we have to say soccer also, because in the US...
It hurts a little bit, but yes, let's go soccer.
And at the age of 28, I received a phone call that changed my professional life. Like, I was a PE teacher already since 5 years, enjoying a lot my profession, my job, working with children, with teenagers, develop them, etc. But I received this phone call from Sporting Lisbon that he calls me, the sports director called me, and he said, so we are here in Sporting Lisbon. You are interested to make an internship as a goalkeeper coach, because we are looking for someone that has experience as a goalkeeper and that has also university studies, sports university studies. And I was like, okay. But my reaction was like, okay, this is a joke for sure. Yeah, come on, like Sporting Lisbon will call me. Yeah, okay. And the technical director continued to say, okay, so you will be available to meet us tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, yeah. Now in the end of the call, they'll say, oh, it's a joke. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. And the technical director again, okay, so you know where is the academy? Please come to see us tomorrow, 10 o'clock. And I was like, yeah, now it's the moment. Yeah. And he hung out there, and I was like, whoa, this is real. And I called my wife at the moment, and I said, Natasha, just call this number, and just listen what they say. And she called, and she called me back, and she said, they answer like a Sporting Academy. Good afternoon. And I was like, oh my God.
It's real.
So I was like, I was not polite at all to receive a phone call to have this kind of job in one of the biggest clubs.
Yeah.
So I went there and I arrived. And the first thing that I said to the technical director is, hey, Coach, sorry. Yesterday I was, I thought it was a joke. And he was like, no problem. So we start that meeting. And he said, so are you interested to become an internship in the under 14 team? I said, yeah, let's do it. Okay, good, thank you. So your salary will be 100 euros per month. And I was 28. I was already a PE teacher. And, it was like 30 kilometers from the school that I was working to the Sporting Academy. And I was like, 100 euros is not enough even for the petrol or gas or even for the bridge, the tolls, exactly. Yeah. The tolls. So I was okay. So I said to him, look, so let's do one thing. I propose here one thing. He said, yeah. So I will work 1 year for free. Yeah. And in the end of that year, if you like my job and if I like to be here, we'll do a good contract. I said, okay, 300 euros per month. And I said, no, I don't want it. Let's work for free. And okay. Okay. You want to start with the under 17 also? And I was like, yeah, okay, why not? So I went there to the under 17 because it starts the season before the under 14. Mm-hmm. I went there, I met a coach, a former player, a very knowing former player from the 60s, like a real gentleman, Of course, he was not expertise in goalkeeper because he was also left back, another position. But he was such a figure, such a character, very important. It was amazing to work with him 1 week. In the last training session that we had together, he calls me and said, okay, you will give the warm-up today. And it just disappeared from the training session. I was like, where he is? I'm like, okay, maybe something is not correct, but okay. I gave the training session. In the end, we were running, because he runs a lot, man. With 70, I was like 30. It was difficult
to
keep up. But in the end, he came and he said, I said, Coach, everything's okay. And he said, yeah, everything is right. I just went there and said, you have to do a good contract with this kid. I was like, thank you. I was very grateful for that. And then 1 week after, just came Paulo Bento, that is currently is the head coach of the UAE national team, but he was a former national coach in Portugal and in Korea, now in the World Cup. He was in his first year of coaching as a coach. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was coaching the under-19. So that is the highest team of the youth, before the professional level. Yeah. And he just came and he needed a goalkeeper coach. He asked to this gentleman, this coach, and he said, this is not for me, this is for these young guys. Pick him. And that was the moment that I met one of the most, important friends regarding not only a friendship, of course, but also the professional life that influenced me. And I remember that I gave the warm-up and Paulo just called me after and said, what do you think about this? Like 4-3-3, we press in this way. And I was like, this guy is an international player. Like, he's asking me what? But we had and we have a very good relationship, and we start there. So for me was, and I think I keep this principle, because in many jobs, we can speak about that, not only the jobs and the fires, but in the many jobs that I had during these last 20 years of my career, I learned something, that sometimes you have to invest first, even if it is for free, to prove. The outcome of that is that I think you become a little bit more humble. That is one thing that I needed always, because I have the arrogant part also. So this helped me I have to prove. I have to be worth it to receive back. And so that was the moment that starts the career. In 2010, we went to the national team. So in 2005, we went to the professional level together. Paulo invited me to go. So I was 28 in the middle of 3 goalkeepers, international goalkeepers. So playing in the national team, I was like, wow, okay, let's do it. And we did it very well with an amazing group. We were there during 4 years. Champions League, that is one of the big competitions in Europe regarding the clubs. Mm-hmm. And then in 2010, we went to the national team, Portugal national team. It was a big surprise for us. We just had like 5 years career, and we were in the national team playing in Euro Cup 2012, World Cup 2014, coaching one of the best players in the world at the moment, like Cristiano Ronaldo or Pep or Rui Patricio. So this kind of level, it was very good. But in the middle of that, so I was having a good life, I was happy with my life. I had a good marriage. That was surprise marriage, that we can speak after. I don't know if it is legal. I had a good marriage, family, 2 children, 1 girl, 1 boy. So everything is like, like the boy is the oldest one, the girl. We have a dog, we have a car, we
Perfect
have
life,
right? A college for the kids, and a house. But something was missing. So I came for spirituality, not because of that I was having a stress moment or something that sometimes help, or to know, or to try to know something that I had already in my mind. I have to get this knowledge. Was not my purpose at the moment. But I was feeling that something is missing. I was happy, but yeah. And my auntie, that was already a devotee of Paramahamsa Vishwananda, Guruji, she was speaking about him in the last 3 years. I was listening with respect. A little bit strange for me at the time, but with a lot of respect, some curiosity to know the stories. But also it happens that she was Om chanting organizer. That is one of the sadhanas that Paramahamsa Vishwananda proposed to the world or share with the world. She was organizing this kind of circles and chanting the Om, that is part of the yoga meditation. And she often asked to do it in my place. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, of course, let's do it. So I organize everything, and then bye-bye. Yeah, so you stay here, I go out.
I give you the house and I leave.
Yeah, I leave. I don't have nothing to do with this. Because if you ask me about God at that moment, honestly, I don't know exactly the answer until today. What was my position regarding God? I was not a not believer, like I don't believe in God. I cannot say that. But I was not also a believer, like, yeah, I believe in God. So I cannot also say that. And during that years, mainly from the age of 23, that this starts to stay in my head. I was not such a big believer in love also. Yeah, because my connection with love, it was love relationships. Yeah, like, okay, with girlfriends and so on. And I was not very succeed in terms of to have long relationships. So I was not believing that I'll be happy, you know. But okay, I met my wife. It was a good relationship. The love, that part comes up. Okay, good. But regarding spirituality, I was not in that position to say, okay, I believe, I want to know, or something like that. So I just gave the house. She do their stuff, her stuff. What happened after? It was like when I shared with her that something is missing. And she said to me, so why you don't do a course of Atma Kriya yoga course? And I was like, yeah, okay. And she said, oh, how okay? You don't know what it is. And I was like, yeah, I don't care. It's like, what? I will lose something. And
you recommend it? I'll try it.
Yeah, and she said, no, you will not lose nothing. And I said, okay, so let's do it. So I start, and it was nice to see, you know, because this is a little bit strange, but the moment that I connect from my childhood to spirituality is in judo, because in judo it's a martial art from Japan, so Asian culture. When you finish the session or the training session, you stay on your knees in front of the master, and the master and the students just finish the training session bowing down to each other. Mm-hmm. And that was a thing that I connected today in terms of bowing down to a master.
Yes.
Even if it was the master that we know that's guru, our teachers, etc. If it was the master at the moment. So something was inside. And when I had this Atma Kriya Yoga course, I remember to look to the teacher 1 hour after, like, you know, like kind of pictures that we remain with him inside of our head, and it's like a flash. And I look at him and said, and I felt like, I will teach this. It's like 1 hour of this course. I don't know what it is. I will teach this. Like, well, okay. Mm-hmm. But I felt so in love. Like, I was like completely delighted with that course. Yeah, 2 days I was like, whoa, what is this? Yeah? When I finished, I went to him and I said, how can I teach this? And he said, you are not even a practitioner and you want to teach already? And I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. But I had in my goal, you know,
to become a teacher of Atma Kriya Yoga.
Yeah. Yep. And this is like, how to say, sometimes it's not good, because at the moment I was putting a lot of discipline equal to pressure. Yeah. Not discipline equal to routine or enjoyment or something. And I just, okay, I have to practice every day, so I'll do it. Okay, I felt in love for that. And my auntie came to me and said, so if you love Atma Kriya Yoga, you have to know the master that put Atma Kriya Yoga in the world. Like, what? Yeah. And I said,
makes sense?
No.
No, it doesn't make sense.
And I was like, no, this is okay. More than enough. I'm in love. Why I need more?
Yeah.
But okay, yes, of course, you dive in Atma Kriya Yoga and you start to have the will to know more and more. Because one of the characteristics, as we know, that Atma Kriya Yoga is for you to know yourself. So you start to know yourself more and more. So you are discovering things, and sometimes you're discovering good things and not good things, because you are all of the things. But you need some guidance over there. Because the bad qualities that we all have sometimes can be a little bit stressful if we don't have orientation, like a guidance to deal with them. Yeah. Okay, so 3 months after I accept, I came here, and okay, let's know the master. Yeah. I just arrived. I was one step behind and one step in front. I was not here with my 2 feet. I was like afraid of something, like what is happening here, etc. But I just came to this room on side where we are. Prayer time. So Guruji was not there. And okay, I was like, all in, full in. Let's try to do what the people are doing to get everything, and then I analyze. Yeah,
get the full experience, and then let me see. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I like the mentality. Yeah.
So I went there. I bowed down. Like, why
else?
You bow down? No, I bowed down because the others were bowing down. So I bowed down. I just and when I came up, I looked to the chair and I just asked, "You are my master?" And I was like, what I'm thinking, like stupid thought. Okay, I just went, and on the day after Saturday, I was doing some seva in the garden, and my auntie just came and said, "Oh, Paramahamsa Vishwananda, Guruji is in the reception area. Just came to meet him," and so on. And I was like, yeah, okay, but yeah, okay. Walking slowly, well, you are in a rush, man. Come on, it's kind of arrogant feeling. And I just arrived there. Nobody was there. Nobody were there. And even Guruji was not there. So I just stayed there alone in the reception area, looking to the window. And like 3 minutes after, from the reception office, Guruji came out. And at the time, it was like he was wearing jeans, t-shirt, vest,
And which year was this?
2012.
2012. Oh, 12 years ago. Yeah.
2012. He starts to come in my direction, and I was like, yeah, what is this?
What is this? Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, if you ask me, like, okay, you felt something, and I said, what I felt, it was like that being, he's so big. I was not seeing nothing, and so, but I was feeling like, whoa, that's like, whoa.
He has a presence.
He has a presence, charisma, everything, yeah? And he starts to come in my direction, and I was like, whoa, you will lead this conversation for sure, because I will not speak. And I just turned to the window and looking through the window, and he just stopped on my side. And he looked to the window also. So we were not facing each other. We were side by side, looking to the window. And he looked at me and said, "So, where are you from?" And I was like, "Portugal."
Straight back to the window.
Immediately, yeah? And he was like, "Oh, okay." And we stopped there, and we were like 1 minute in silence. And I was like, what is happening here? And he said, Germany is much more colder than Portugal, huh? And I look at him like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, what kind of conversation? Like, you, the master, and we are speaking about the weather. Well, okay. And he said, what is your name? And I said, Ricardo. And he said, by the way, tomorrow in the Darshan, because it was the weekend, and the day after we had the Darshan, the blessing. Tomorrow in the Darshan, I will not remember your name. And, I just met him there. I was like, oh, no problem. No problem. Like, no problem. Just, I understand. 300 people. It's okay. No problem. And he was like, this guy is not catching what I'm trying to say, for sure. But okay, we continue. 1 minute after, he was just scanning me. Like I was feeling his look like up, down, and I was like, okay. And he said, okay, so in Portugal, the weather is better now? Yeah, okay, yes. Okay, I have to go. So, sorry, your name? And I said, Ricardo. Tomorrow I'll not remember your name. I was like, okay, no problem. So he just left. And I was like,
what was this?
Yeah, but okay. So next day, Darshan, I made the tilak in everything, like I was behaving like a proper guy. I don't want to be the strange guy because yeah. So I was there, everyone going down until the Darshan, until you arrived to him. And when I arrived to him, like he gave me the Darshan. At the moment, you remember the Darshan.
He used to touch us.
Yeah. It was nice. It was very nice. Like his look, amazing, like love, whatever. And yeah, I was like, whoa, it's amazing. And he looked at me, so how are you? And I said, I'm fine, thank you. What is your name? And I was like, Ricardo, I told you that I will not remember your name. And spontaneously, like if I thought about that, I will not do it for sure. Spontaneously came out and I was like, can you give me my spiritual name? And when I finished the sentence, I was like, what the hell I'm doing? Like what? Don't. And he was like, yeah, Sitaram. So for all the people that are listening to us, like Sitaram is like a big character in the spirituality in Hindu tradition. Is like an avatar, and okay, he gives the name for us to work that qualities that avatar has, etc. So it just gives, and I was like, sit what? And I was like, Sitaram, and I was like, can you write? And I was like, yeah, okay. And you just wrote Sitaram. I was like, oh, I like the name. I don't know, but okay, I like it. And I just came out. I sit, and then my auntie just came again and said, Guruji is calling you to help him. So in the Darshan, we give a petal, like a vibhuti, and
so there's someone helping Guruji always on the side who gives things to the people who receive Darshan. Yeah. And
I was doing that during 3 hours or 4, I don't remember. And I was doing like in the mindset that this is the most important job in my life. Like I was very strict. Like he was just giving the Darshan, he put his hand, and I was like, immediately like, huh?
Look at the performance.
No delay, like yeah. So I was enjoying a lot. And I was very close to the Darshan moment, like for everyone. It's like love moment. And I was like testimonying everything, yeah. But 3 hours after, I looked to the cameras, yeah. And I was like, cameras, So I'm a coach in the national team. And I'm here with these things in my head, my niece giving petals to a Hindu person and this will be in Portugal. And this is not good. I was like, And I start, like
changing
the angle to not get catch by the camera. And okay. And I stressed, but I keep it all the time. And we finished like that. 3 months after, at the moment, the Darshans were posted in the website for a certain time. Yeah, okay. You remember that time? They post the Darshan there, and you can watch the Darshan during like 1 week or 2, and then it comes out in the website. So my aunt just came to me and said, what do you thought when you start to help Guruji? And I was like, why? And she said, because the Darshan video finish immediately before the moment you start to help him. And I was like, okay, Look, I was really in love for that moment also here. I went to my family and I said to them, I want you guys to come, okay? To my wife, to my 2 children at the time, so 7 years, one and the other, the girl, the Maria with Gonzalo with 7 and Maria with 6. I want you guys to come. We go there. If you don't like it, we go immediately out, and I will come back another time because
Of course.
I enjoy it. Yeah, but I don't want to press you. I just want to have you to have the experience, and then you decide. Okay, for the 3 of them, even for the children. Yeah, of course they love it. Yeah, Guruji was walking to the garden and met the children and gave them some food and so on. It was like amazing. And then all the family were here suddenly. Okay, and it's nice to share spirituality with the family. It's like, whoa. And to finish this introduction that becomes long, sorry.
Perfect.
Guruji just called us, so we came again in September, and then we came again in November, in Babaji Day. And Guruji just, I can share this because Bhakti Dasi, my wife, also shared this publicly. So she was having a very, very difficult moment because my father-in-law passed away 2 years before. So imagine during 2 years, she was really, really in a difficult moment, feeling tired. So very close to the burnout, if you can say nowadays. And when she was having the darshan from Guruji, she spontaneously also thought, you have to help me, if not, I will die. Like, out of nothing, she thought this. And Guruji was doing the darshan and took the hand immediately, looked at her and said, you come to speak with me after the darshan. Okay? Don't forget. She was like, okay. So we went there, first the 4 of us, and he said, okay, I will bless this family. So for me, that was the real marriage, like, oh, I will stay with this woman.
Now I'm stuck with it.
all my life. Yeah. So he gave the blessing, it was like a strong thing. It was very nice. So then the children left. She stays with me and he asked her what is happening. And she can tell the story. Okay. She shared that she was having a difficult moment. Guruji just answered to her questions. He was amazing. He gave her a simple sadhana that is an amazing sadhana because it's so simple. He just said to her, your first thought of the day has to be positive and your last thought of the day has to be positive. Just that. Okay? And you will see how you will change. Okay? And everything changed for her immediately. Like, she was having therapy, massage, specific massage and so on, not psychological therapy, but, taking care of the body because the body was like this, or becoming sick or tired, blah, blah. And the therapist was very impressed. Like 1 month after, she was like, your body's completely healthy. What is happening? And she was like, I'm feeling completely different. Only with this sadhana and his blessing, of course. Okay, you can leave, Natasha. Sitaram, you will stay. So tell me, Sitaram, Guruji asked me, so tell me, Sitaram, what do you want?
Mm-hmm. Dangerous question.
And I was like, I don't want nothing. Everything's okay. Thank you so much. And he said, no. What do you want? So this was 9 months after I met him. Yeah. Right. So everything in the same year, 2012. And I was like, no, it's okay, Guruji. Thank you so much. Like, I don't need nothing. I don't want. And he said, what you want deep inside, what you want. And I was like, whoa. And I would like to become an Atma Kriya yoga teacher. And he said, okay, so you have to ask me. And I was like, okay, can I become an Atma Kriya yoga teacher? So come here. And I went there. And he just touched his hand in my heart. And I don't remember if it was 5 seconds or 5 minutes. That's just like, poof, If you ask me, but you felt this, I don't know. Like, nothing. I became aware again of myself when he removed the hand. And he looked at me and said, okay, you can become an Atma Kriya yoga teacher. And I was like, thank you. And he said, okay, but you have to do one more thing. I said, yeah, of course. Tell me. So you go to the Babaji cave. You look to Babaji and you ask him. And I was like, what?
Just so you know, we have a meditation room here at the ashram. We call the Babaji cave, and there's a murti of Mahavtar Babaji there.
Yeah. So for me, it was not even a murti at the time; it was a statue or something like that. Yeah. So I was like, okay. I just went there. So nobody was there, and I just said and look at Babaji. Can I become an Atma Kriya Yoga teacher?
I can just imagine.
And I was like, how can I get this answer now, man? I wait for 15 minutes from the sky that comes like, but nothing happens. And so I thought to myself, okay, this should be a yes. Okay, so I went back and I came back from the cave, the Babaji cave. I went to Swami Tulsidas, the moment was the head of the Atma Kriya Yoga, and I want to register. Guruji allows me. So it was the beginning of an amazing journey.
Nice. Funny. You know, it's obviously because I know you and your family very well, and it's funny to hear these things because I've obviously heard many of these stories, and it's just piecing it all together like in a timeline is always interesting, because you look back on someone's life and you know them how they are now, and then you can easily picture these situations, and I find it super funny to visualize like a less involved Sitaram just staring at a statue like what next? Cool. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about then, now that you've sort of set that background, obviously you still work in sports, so it's not something that you did then and then you became spiritual and you stopped doing. It's something that has maintained itself, and Guruji has encouraged you to carry on that career, and has been guiding you quite a lot in your career. I would like to hear about that as well, like how you introduce his guidance into your decisions and into your career as well. But one of the things that I remember early on in our friendship as well that connected us was, of course, football as well, because I used to play and I used to be a big fan. It was what I wanted to do with my life before I became spiritual as well. So one of the things that I remember was you telling me about once you became the Sama Kriya teacher, and once Sama Kriya was something that you were practicing and teaching, that you even managed to teach it to players in your position as a coach. And so it opens up a wider topic, which is how much room do you believe, or how much like connection do you believe there is between the sports world, because you were a player, coach, different levels of interaction, and the spiritual world. And I mean that from the perspective of a sadhana, like a practice, like Atma Kriya Yoga, but also on the psychological level, like when we learn some of the principles of the Bhagavad Gita and service, selflessness, detachment, like different principles that we know from the Gita. Like, maybe tell me, freely, what are some of the experiences you had, observations that you had of how these things can come together and really help the individuals?
So I think I will share with you, like, I went for stages, how to introduce, or how to, even I don't want to call it introduce, because when you become spiritual, or when you start your spiritual path, is for you to be yourself. So it was first a difficult situation for me, not being myself. First with a little bit, how to say, I don't want to use the word ashamed of myself or ashamed of the spiritual path, but I was like making, I don't know, not showing everything.
Maybe a little shy, maybe?
Shy, but because of some complex, can I say? That maybe people will look at me
in a different way.
I remember, like, for example, I have in my WhatsApp Sitaram Ricardo Peres. At the time, I was 1 year not putting Sitaram in first, because I don't want the people to connect immediately before they know me, to connect immediately and start to judge and start to have their own opinions, etc., before they know me. So I was a little bit shy to show that scenario from myself. And of course, this influence your sharing if you are not being yourself, you influence your sharing, even how to say, no matter what context, you will work. Yeah. Okay, but to make like a small introduction here, that I think it's a very nice moment that starts to wake up this kind of mentality to go behind what we see in a football player, in an athlete. Yeah? I worked in 2011. In 2011, I was giving a workshop, a goalkeeper workshop. So I was the hoster. I was organizing the event. And I invite a performance psychologist. So performance psychologist, that is Dr. Ana Ramirez, very knowing in Portugal and an amazing person and very ethic. Yeah, she was receiving and taking care and have the dynamics to provide you organization, structure, aim, but not in the cheap coaching way. You know, she's very good because she doesn't show you the answer. She doesn't know the answer. She just wants to, what do you want to do? What is your aim? Okay, if you do this action, maybe the consequence will be that action, or it will be that situation, because the context where you are, give me 3 scenarios that can happen with that action that you want to do. And I was like, okay, I have to write this. Okay, maybe this happened, this happened, this happened. Okay, if that happened, what we will do? And the scenario B, what you will do? Okay, so it was an amazing job.
Preparing you for different outcomes and like...
Amazing job.
Nice.
It was amazing.
Interesting.
Like, I will give you a practical example. One day, in one of the training sessions, you know that football is a sport with physical contact. So sometimes with men, sometimes the things become a little bit like...
Heated.
Yeah, heated. And one of the youngest players turns on to one of the oldest players, and he offended him, you know, like, yo, man, you know. And the
things we can't say here.
Yeah. And the oldest guy was like, what are you saying? Da, da, da. And then they start to face each other. And a situation was there, solved with the teammate, coaches. I picked the oldest one that was a goalkeeper. So I put it aside. I gave him a strategy, exercises immediately, like strong ones for him to release his anger and so on. Okay, but what comes out in the group, it was that the leadership of the technical staff was not being so good, because they were not treating in a fair way the youngest player. They were protecting the youngest player. And I shared this with Anna, and she said, okay, so what do you think that you can do? And I said, okay, maybe we have to try to know exactly what is happening there. Yeah? And she said, yeah, so which channel you will use? And I was like, maybe that player. And she said, okay, so how are you going to approach him? Because if you want him to share something with you, he has to feel comfortable. He has to be in his comfortable zone. I was like, okay, good question. You will do it on the pitch? You'll do it in your office? No. And I said, in his room, because we were in the camp, hotel camp. And she said, okay, nice. This is a comfortable zone for him. I said, okay. How are you going to sit? How are you going to be? How will be your, posture? And I want to say this, that is not a robot thing, you know. It's like you prepare something with some strategy, but you are flexible. If the things doesn't go like the script, you know, it has to make sense. Have to be natural also. Yeah. And for me, it was natural that I can arrive to his room. I can have a natural conversation in his room. And for me, it was natural to sit on the floor and to let him be on the chair. So he looked at me. So I said, so what is happening, man? What is happening with you guys? Why you are saying that and so on? You know us. Yeah? And he said, yeah, and he dropped everything. Like, we are thinking this, we are thinking that, the leadership, And I said, I truly believe on that. And then I stand up. And it was my time. Yeah. So it's like, look at this proof. The situation that proved that is not true before. This situation. And the guy was, oh yeah, it's true. Okay, you are right. Okay, this is just to illustrate that how can you build the scenario to provide something, to have something, to solve the situation. So I work like in this way with Anna, strutting him myself, yeah, like my day, my routine. She was like, first question that she made was like, when you have time for you. And I said, oh, yeah. I wake up and I'm with my family. And she said, no, for you. And I was like, yes. So in the evening, I put the children in the bed. So we have our moment there. And she said, no, for you.
Just you, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, I'm not having a single minute for me during the day. It's like, what? Yeah. So I start to be more sensitive to these kind of things. I organize my day. I win a lot of discipline. I think I can consider myself a disciplined guy, but at that moment I increased that level. I program my day. So from this time, this, not being a slave of that, but enjoying also. And I can say that Anna gives me this kind of organization and structure in my daily life and also in my job. Of course, it was a nice moment because meanwhile I met Guruji. So it was 2011 with Anna, and then 2012, Guruji just came, yeah? And I remained with Anna. We made like a 3 years program. And it was amazing because in the moment that I decided, okay, I think we are done here. We finish, yeah? In that meeting, I came in and said, Anna, I have something to tell you. And she said, I have something to tell you also. And I was like, oh, you first. No, you first. And I said, okay, Anna, I think we finish, yeah? And she said, oh, it was exactly what I was supposed to say to you. And I was like, okay, good, yeah? You know why? My interpretation of this is that even being Ana Ramirez, even being Ricardo or Sitaram or whatever, even being any human being, we have a limit. When you coach someone, when you try to develop someone, to help to that development, when you try to develop yourself, we have a limit. And what we felt, both of us, it was we achieve our limit. And I was like, Anna, I don't need you anymore. Even because I found something that there is no limit. That is my spiritual master. And I'm feeling that there is no limit there. Mm-hmm. So I want to invest there because here we finish our cooperation. It was amazing and we remain very good friends. I love her. She's amazing. But but I found something that has no limit. That the moment of Guruji just came. And like you were saying, how we influence me. It was a nice story. You were there. In the 2014 World Cup, mm-hmm. We were in Brazil. Yeah, it was a very bad World Cup from our side. Portugal national team. We lost like 4-0 against Germany in the first game. We drew like 2-2 against United States, and then we go for the game against Ghana that we need like 4-0, a result with 4 goals difference. But we were very, not negative. This will not happen, and so on and so on. So we were like a little bit depressed, and we were not able to put this positiveness and will and ambition at the team. And I was very sad when we were on the bus on the way to the game. I was very sad. It was the saddest moment in that World Cup. And it was one of the first text message that I received from Guruji. He just texted me and said, how are you? And I was like, wow, I'm sad. And I said, I'm not so well. I'm not enjoying this moment. Oh, I'm here with Swami Revatikaanta. I don't know, maybe you were not a Swami at that time, no. 2014. No. I'm here with Swami Revatikaanta, and we will watch your game. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Okay, thank you. Yeah. we won 2-1, so we were out, and we flew to Portugal. I stayed there one day. I picked all the family. We picked all the family. All the family came here because it was Guru Purnima, so the day that we celebrate our Guru. And Darshan. And when he finished the Darshan, he was giving the Darshan at the moment, not anymore like this. When he finished the Darshan, he just took his hand and, spiritual moment, bhajans and Darshan, blessings, people enjoying. And he just took his hand and he looked at me and said, "What happened in the World Cup?" And I was like, we are in the Darshan. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, but, it's a little bit difficult to explain here." I said, "Oh, yeah, you come to take dinner with me, yeah?" It was the first dinner with him in that evening, yeah? Okay, but I don't want to come out of the topic. So Anna was important for that. Guruji was important to me to understand that there is a limit that we have, but with Guruji and spirituality, there is no limit, okay? So I start to bring all of this that was inside of me in my daily life, family, sports, whatever. Yeah. So I didn't have that specific thing like I will be like this in sports, I will be like this in my family. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. So I start to share his teachings. And that was the challenge, like how such a different culture, such a different scripture, such a different tradition that you make sense to you, but how can I share this with this person first and with this athlete after, that I believe that will increase his performance, because this will help him as a person, and in consequence will increase his performance. So first it was step by step, very carefully. Like, wow, this have to be very carefully, because this guy can become scared with this, it's too much. And I was not ashamed anymore about that, but I was like, I don't want this guy to run away from this, so I want to give him according to his time. Yeah. And so I start like this. It worked. It was nice. One player did Atma Kriya Yoga course, that Rui Patrício. He shared also publicly. So he did the Atma Kriya Yoga course. It was good. The other ones I was giving step by step. So I didn't work. I didn't went so much inside in that context. Suddenly, I came out of the national team. I went to Brazil to become a.
This is a funny story in Brazil. So he was a assistant coach in one of the Brazilian teams, Cruzeiro, in Belo Horizonte, and then you had to manage one of the games because Paulo Bento was suspended, right? Yeah. And then you had to manage a game, and you had your Tulsi Kantimalas from your initiation as a devotee. And then there was like a TV, like, these football, like they have all these like football shows where they just have these panelists there talking about the game and whatever else, analyzing. And then they started talking about you, and they had like a video of you like doing an interview or something, and then they saw the necklaces.
After the game immediately, yeah.
And then the guys were like, in Brazil, they're saying, wow, look at those necklaces. He looks like a macumbeiro. And macumbeiro is like, in Brazil, it's like, it depends the connotation, but sometimes it's like those guys that do like these kind of like African religion rituals, like doing some, like, it's a form of like, we could maybe compare it to voodoo or some kind of thing like this. And they were saying that he looks like one of those guys just because of his Tulsi malas, and it was funny.
It was funny even because Guruji just called me immediately after, laughing. I'm here, macumbeiro. Swami Revatikaanta just told me macumbeiro. I was like, okay, it's not such a funny thing. Like, okay. Okay.
But you see how strange things are. That's the thing. Just wearing like wooden necklaces already, people are just like, what is this? Like, why would you wear a wooden necklace? Something as small as that can already make such an impact. Like, you're on national TV being made fun of because of the Tulsi Mala.
Exactly. It's true. Okay, and this can hurt your credit as a coach, and can hurt also your strategy if you want, or if you feel that is good to give this kind of teachings also to increase the performance of the athlete, And this kind of things goes against that, or
discredits you.
Discredit, yeah. So you have to manage that also. So so in that Brazil and Greece, that I went to Greece also to coach Olympiacos, and I was like giving already some direct teachings. So I had a lot of filter first. Then I went to the direct thing. Okay, this is like this. So in Bhagavad Gita, in verse and so on, so Arjuna you have to do your duty, you are a warrior. So guys, this is our war, our duty as a team is to win this match. So makes sense. We have to do our dharma, our duty, this kind of thing. It was nice. It was a nice impact. It was very, very nice. But didn't, in my opinion now, after these years, they didn't hold that for life. Yeah. Okay, I have some connections with some players and so on, that we keep it. The feeling is there, but the tradition didn't stay there, was not rooted there. And I went to Portugal for a team that was losing all the games, and I accepted the job. I text Guruji and I said, look, Guruji, this team is losing all the games. Should I accept this? And he said, yeah, why not? Accept it. It's like, but we will not win. It will be very difficult. There is a big difference between the other teams and our team. And he said, yeah, but accept it. I was like, okay, let's do it. It was an amazing experience. I just love it. Yeah, I love it. But when I arrived here during that time, when we were losing like 4 games in a row or 5, like Guruji I opened the door and said, hello, Guruji, and say, hello, Mr. Loser, how are you? And it's like, okay, you have to have the consequences of your actions. But for me, the key moment there, I will never forget. And it's the continuation of what I'm saying. So first, step by step. Second, directly. In this context that you are losing all the games, you don't know what to say after 4 or 5 defeats. Like, you just tried everything. Like, oh, again, this guy.
Some motivational speech.
Yeah. And I just went to the locker room after a defeat. I went to the locker room on the day after, and I just said, guys, like, for this to change, I have to know you guys most as possible. Yeah, from your hair to your feet, I have to know you guys most as possible, because if I don't know you most as possible, I will not be able to help this team to develop. But if I'm asking that, I have to present myself as most as possible to you. It's fair. Okay? So, my name is this, I'm a devotee of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. I follow his teachings. I do Atma Kriya Yoga. I'm a teacher. And the guys were like, what?
Who's this guy now? Like, what's he saying? Because you have to understand, those of you who are not aware, football players are a very particular, specific type of human beings. Like,
yeah.
Unless you've been in those locker rooms and you understand the culture, you don't really get it. I'm going to be a bit provocative. They're not the most intelligent group of people on planet Earth. And they're very, like, there's a stereotype. There's an image that you try to conform to some extent.
I think it's changing. Yeah, it's changing.
Perfect. Good to know.
I think it's changing. But yeah, you have the mentality that what happens inside of your locker room then never leaves the locker room. The rock. Yeah. It's like
it's a brotherhood.
It's like it's like in Ibiza. If what happened in Ibiza stays in
Las
Ibiza.
Vegas. Yeah.
But so I just drop everything of myself there. So I have a master, Paramahamsa Vishwananda, and the guys were like, we just lost the game, and this guy is talking about the spiritual master, Hindu spiritual master, what? Yeah. And I follow the teachings of Bhagavad Gita also. That is a scripture that my master just shared in the world. Ancient scripture, and like 20 minutes. And the guys were like, so it was nice to see. Some of them was like, yeah. And other guys were like, this is strange. And the third group was like, whoa, this is nice. Yeah, this is nice. So one lecture changed my perspective. So that is normal, that your experiences, if you analyze them and if you make some thoughts about that, change my perspective. So being myself is an advantage, no matter what reaction you will have. Yeah. And even in football world, I'm vegetarian. Vegetarian, like you don't eat meat. You are.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean.
Like weak guy. So when I drop myself there, I got themselves. Who wants to give them? Who wants to give the knowledge about who they are to me? I'm open to that now. Yeah, because I did it. So we are here in a fair relationship. Yeah? Some of them remain in their space. Most of them open a relationship with me. And a small group also, even more deep than that. It's just, I want to know. Please tell me, what is that? What is these teachings and so on? Yeah, and again, Atma Kriya Yoga students, people that came to know Guruji and so on. It was good. So first, step by step. Second, directly, but lacking the connection because I was not sharing myself. I was sharing another person or another kind of teachings, but how I position myself inside of that. So I was not sharing that. So I shared myself, and then I got themselves, most of them. And then I went to Korea. That is another topic that you can speak. It's a completely different culture. And I combine both. Okay? This is who I am. Like my presentation was with Guruji's picture. I've made some slides, 3 or 4. And I told them, like, because they will know for sure, because I will speak about that and so on. So let's start from the day one. Yeah? This teacher here, this master, teach me how to love. It changed my life. And love, it's a word, a universal word, even in Asia. And it was very good. We had like a board. I don't know if you remember, like we had a board with the Gita verses. Connected with sports. That's life. Gita is a manual for life, so it's a manual for sports also. Yeah, and the guys were just waiting for the verse in every lecture before each game. Just like, which kind of verse will come today? Yeah, it's nice. And then we chant also the divine name together. I was not obliging anyone to do it. It's like, you are free to do it or not. It's up to you. They just came like, okay, let's do this meditation. Sometimes some of them were not so much inside of the divine name, but some of them were. So 1 year and a half, we did Om chanting all together. We did Om chanting in the circle, in the middle circle, in the middle of the pitch. It was nice. Also nice picture, only drawn. So it was amazing. So using this kind of tools, that is a tool that you are being yourself. So that's the main tool. So you are being yourself, because everything that you use, if you are not being yourself, will have a gap of reality or a gap of not truth. Yeah, you can expose something. Yeah, but if you don't believe it, if you don't live it, it's not the same, in my opinion. Yeah. So using this kind of experiences and arriving to that point that you understand that any human being, if it is a football player also, because he's a human being, obviously, is not about what they show. If you want really to increase the performance, or to help to increase the performance, because we only can help, because the decision is about the person, of course, is about what is behind the scenes, what is behind what you see. I will give you a practical example. One of the players was getting divorced. He was playing a league game, so high-level game, and he passed the ball to the teammate, and the teammate drive the ball like 20 meters. So between that time of the 20 minutes driving the ball, 20 meters, the player who passed the ball thought about the discussion that he had with his father-in-law because of the divorce. So we are
in the middle of the game.
In the middle of the game,
he passes the ball. He's watching his teammate go with the ball, and he starts thinking about the argument he had with his father-in-law.
Exactly. And don't judge, because we all do that in our jobs and in our actions in life. That our mind just go for something that many times we don't want.
Yeah.
And that player who had the ball lose the ball for the opponent, and the opponent starts to come and having a one-to-one challenge. Yeah. And this guy who passed the ball made an action, not being so technically, because he went to the floor and the player just put the ball up and it was an easy goal. So what this action, if we practice this action in the training session in the day after, because you evaluate the game, this was not a good technique, let's practice this. It's immediately what you do in your assessment if you want to analyze the game, and then you prescribe the training session. But if I do this guy will do this action 100% all the times. Well,
in the training, he always does it well, and in this game, he did the wrong thing.
And if I practice that after the game, he will do it.
He will again do it well.
Yeah. So this is not about technique. What is happening here? And I asked him, and he shared with me exactly that. The conversation that he had with his father-in-law. And I was like, man, we are only on the surface. We are just working on the surface, on the outside. So we have to go inside. How to go inside? The way that I know is with the teachings of my master. Yeah. And then you put aside the culture, you put aside the tradition, because this is about love and for you to be yourself and to develop yourself. So this is a general thing for a general human being. So you don't even have to care about that. You just focus in the teachings that can develop that player. So you will work in a different level. And that is the most challenging thing for the coaches, in my opinion, in our job, is that how can you get in? Because first you need the authorization from the player to do it. Yeah, it's impossible. You can,
of course,
be there. You have to believe you. You have to trust you to allow to open the door and for you to come in. Yeah, and then you cannot have even the arrogance that I will change this person. Forget it. Yeah, the only person that I believe that can change people is Guruji. So what you use, I think I have here a weapon, if I can say like that can change that person, because it is his teachings, not my teachings. I'm just applying. I'm just doing.
Transmitting the teaching.
Adapting to the context. That is my job. Adapting to the context, the speech, the action, how I will do it, how I prescribe the exercise, what we will work, which kind of talks we will have, where we will have the talks, etc.
That's your intelligence. So you have the tools that Guruji gives, everything, this whole spiritual world in a sense, and you have to act as the filter that knows, how do I present this? How do I bring this across to someone in a way that is actually going to make a desired impact? Because everybody's different. And I always say this to people, you have to think of yourself almost like a keymaster, that you have just a bunch of different keys. You know, when you pull the keys out of your pocket, there's like 50 keys there. Yeah. Because each person has a different lock. Yep. Each person has a different need, a different obstacle, a different challenge. And like you were saying, sometimes it's you have to tell the person, ignore the tradition, ignore the foreign sort of elements. It's Hinduism, but that's the external package. What it's really trying to do is allow you to be yourself and connect with the deepest parts of yourself and eventually experience the highest thing you can, real love, not any sort of superficial love, but the realest thing, right? And that's one way to disarm the obstacles that a person can receive it. And I think that's, I'm not to stop your story, but I think that's just something to highlight, because a lot of people, they sometimes put it in their head that if I don't give it 100% how I received it, I'm doing something wrong. Like I'm diluting, or I'm changing, and it's like, well, you have to, because you have to adapt to the situation. Do you not think that Guruji has adapted to our situations when he teaches us? He doesn't speak to everybody the same way. He doesn't meet people at the same level. He meets you where you need to be met, and then he takes you, gradually to whatever heights you're supposed to reach. And I actually, in that sense, very much am against the parrot mentality, the parrot that just repeats what the master says, in a sense. But I repeat the spirit. I repeat the intention of the master. So when I speak, I'm not quoting Guruji word for word, because if I come and give a talk, and I've spoken at universities to students, I've spoken to players. You invited me once to speak to your team.
To the team that lost the game.
Yeah, to the guys that you shared everything with, right? So I spoke to them. I've spoken at conferences, businesses, all kinds of situations, right? If I just get in front of them and regurgitate a satsang from Guruji 100% word for word, just send them an audio from Guruji, send them the link for his YouTube video. Why do I need to be there? It's almost like nonsensical, but I need to understand deeply. I need to be so connected to him when I'm doing this kind of representation, when I'm doing this kind of teaching, that what is his intention? What is he actually trying to achieve? What is the real message that he's trying to transmit? Because then the words just become a tool to act out the intention, the real purpose, right? So, for example, one of the things you said, I need to know you guys. Because unless I don't know you, I can't really help guide you to whatever could be, right? And so for that, I need to tell you about me, right? So two things in that I don't want to sort of skip over. I really want to highlight. When I used to talk in the temple, I used to give satsangs, I was always concerned, how much should I share about myself? I used to be very caught up in those thoughts, How much is too much? Or how much is too little also? Because sometimes if you just sit on a high chair somehow and just speak to them and you share nothing about yourself, but you just teach, it can come across like a little impersonal, a little arrogant almost, like he's always telling us what to do or telling us what is right or wrong, but it's not related. He's not human somehow. And then there's some people that they share about themselves, but it's almost because they want some pity back from someone, or they want some they want to present themselves as a victim, I really suffer sometimes, I really struggle, but have to get back up on the horse, and and then people go, look how nice he is, really.
Conquers.
That's a funny story also, actually. We can come to that maybe. And so it was about finding that middle ground of no, I'm not trying to get pity from people, and I'm not trying to present things in a way that they also can't receive because of my, arrogance and perfection or whatever. And so it's what's the middle ground? What's the intention here? And Guruji, the reason he works with someone like me or with you, we trust him. There is a trust there already, that I allow you to speak to me. I allow you to correct me and to say whatever, because I trust your intentions. We have a relationship. And so it's okay, if I'm going to get the trust of my audience, if I'm going to get them to trust in what I'm going to say to them, because I want that. I want to make an impact. And for that, their minds and hearts have to be as open as possible. And they will do that, as you were saying that Dr. Anna was teaching you about, how to create the environment, the comfort zone in a sense, for the person to share and receive. Because you can speak to them in 3 different ways and it will be 3 different results, right? And so my middle ground was really that. It was when I understood he gets through to me because he has earned my trust, and then he gives it in a way that my mind and my life circumstances can understand and put in practice. And so it changed my entire mentality, which was, I'm going to speak to whoever's in front of me first in a way that will get as much trust from them as possible. So I'm very honest about myself when I speak, but never giving the impression that I want some pity from someone. It's just, I'm honest because I want you to know, like what you did with your players. I want you to know who I am, good and bad. I need you to know, because then you can trust. I'm not trying to hide something from you. I'm not pretending to be better than I am. This is who I am. Point finished. Why? Trust. Trust is established. Then, once trust is established, here's what I have to share with you, because I think this will really help you. So intention has to be also expressed. And I think there is what I'm picking up from the sharings that you've done so far. And I'll stop there. But there's a lot of what you've been talking and sharing, and I've observed, because I was I was talking to you throughout these years as these things were happening, and I remember so many times you would send a picture of like the players practicing Surya Namaskar or doing an Om chanting, or like you said, Guruji's picture on a board, and you're there as the coach, and you have Guruji and Bhagavad Gita verses, and all the players just there, sort of like looking at all this, and I remember sharing this with Guruji. Like I would be with Guruji in Germany, you'd be wherever you were, and sending, and Guruji would look at it, and he'd be so happy. Always, he was always smiling, like that's so nice, because you found a way to bring these things in, and I'm really happy to be hearing you explain how, because a lot of people would like to in their professional careers and their whatever, but they don't know how, because a lot of the concerns are the same. What will they think of me? Image. Yeah.
I think this will come when you change your aim, your goal in life. If you establish your goal like, I want to be myself, then no matter what, and if you ask me, but you do it 100%, I will say no. I'm not able to do it 100%, but I'm trying to do it 100%. And when I'm not doing, in the moments that I'm not doing, more often I become aware of that. Or in the moment that I'm not doing, or at least after. But for that, because I'm not able to do it 100%, I need help for someone that are able to do it 100%. So this person knows more than me. So can you help me? Can you teach me how to do it? Because I can see your life. I have this relationship with you. We have 12 years of relationship, and I can say that I never felt that you were not being 100% yourself, even if you adapt to the situation. You were managing, not being yourself outside to get what you want honestly, not, like with the second edition, manipulation, honestly. That is, and what you want, that's the amazing part. What you want is that for me to be like you, like being myself. It's like, whoa, And when you change this, when you change this goal, it was the moment that I was lacking. Even if I was sometimes with Guruji's picture behind, with Bhagavad Gita or whatever, his teachings and so on, he was happy. But I was lacking to be myself more and more every time, because I think I'm being myself today more than yesterday. So it's always lacking something, and I'm not punishing myself because of that. It's my whatever.
It's a journey.
It's a journey, But like, for example, in my courses, Atma Kriya Yoga courses, that like the students of the first year in 2013, they always like become very upset when they come to a refresh.
Because it's much better now.
Because they said, come on, you are more sweet now, much more sweet. You were so disciplined and like in military thing, you know? Like, okay, I'm happy with that feedback. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you.
Sorry you had a bad course, but...
But to change, and then comes, changing the goal, and also to have one thing in your mind always when you work with people. This I really try, and you know me very well. I have this characteristic inside of me sometimes that even I remember when we spoke in, 2014 or something, like 10 years ago. I remember one day that you were in the office, and I asked you, because I was watching you giving lectures, public lectures and so on. here, and I ask you, like, you don't feel that sometimes we use the arrogant skill, if you can call it skill, arrogant feeling to hold or to give a good lecture? Because it's comes from insecurity, lack of control, etc. But come on, it's like a strong energy. Yeah. And if you ask me, if you, like when you were speaking 10 years ago for a certain number of people, whatever, I will tell you, of course, I was very good. Yeah. At the moment, I was thinking like that, like, 500 people, I'm very good, no problem. Yeah. And it was a fear that was inside that was being undercovered by the arrogant feeling. Yeah. And when you start with the mentality, no, this is not for me. Like I'm giving a lecture that I like it because I like it, but it's to serve them. Yeah. It's to give something. What I can give, okay, there is a limit. There is no limit of this person here. So I will try to be, like you were saying, transmitting his teachings that there is no limit. So, and this put us more humble. Yeah, put us more humble. So being ourselves and having to be humble when you start to work with people. You don't change anyone. Like, I can give you an example, practical example too, if you allow me. Like in the Atma Kriya Yoga course, we have a technique, the first technique, or there is not a technique, there is Japa Kriya. So you chant the divine name. And the divine name is love, so there is no difference between the divine name and the divine himself. And so when I share this in the courses, like, man, it's like 1 hour after you start to speak about japa and about chanting the divine name and the name is love, etc. And you look to the face of the people 1 hour after, and you have to say to yourself, it's impossible that this comes from me. I cannot change this person in 1 hour in this way. Look at her. Yeah. So if you are aware of that, then you can start to be the vehicle, the transmitting.
Like a bridge or something.
Yeah. Like you were saying, and I think now I would like to highlight one word that you said, the intention. Which kind of intention you have when you share your own experiences. Even yesterday, I was speaking here with an Atma Kriya Yoga teacher, and she was saying, sometimes I don't speak so much about myself because I don't want to put myself in front. People will say that I have a big ego, etc., etc. And I said, and if you have to, because people need practical examples, and you are a practical example with a good experience, with a bad experience, showing your good qualities, showing your bad qualities or the qualities that you have to develop or transform or something, yeah? And I said to her, like, for me, it's the intention. If I have the intention to share my own experience, that, yeah, yes, you put like a pin in it, yeah. So if I have this kind of intention, yeah, it's not good. You are putting yourself, it's your ego, like blah, blah, blah. Even for the context that you were saying, like the victim thing. Yeah. This was very difficult. Guruji speaks with me like in a very bad way. Oh.
And it was, are you okay? Do you want some help?
So Guruji sometimes it's like, like what? Yeah?
I don't like that.
But if you say like Guruji spoke with me, like in one day in the airport that we were just the two of us, and he asked me 2, 3, 4 things, and I'm representing him. I propose myself to represent him, like I said in the beginning of our talk here.
You wanted to be an Atma Kriya teacher.
Yeah. So if I want that, I have that responsibility. So he have to educate me in that role. If not, it's okay. He will say, no worries, we have a love relationship. I have it with all the people. So you don't need to be a teacher for that, yeah? But I propose myself to that, yeah? So, and he asked me in the airport 1 question, 2 questions, like 2017 or whatever, 3 questions about religious and tradition and so on. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. 3rd question, I was like, I don't know. And he just looked at me and said, you are one of the worst teachers that I have.
Ouch.
And I was like, whoa, okay.
But what was the intention?
And then we just finished the talk there. Silence. After 15 minutes, again, you continue to not to look for the answers. Call Revati, man. He knows about that stuff. And I was like, okay. Tack, tack, tack. Now, imagine, you know about this? He made the question. I don't know. It's okay, Sitaram. Third question. It's okay, Sitaram. I will never look for the answer.
Yeah.
What it fits me? What puts me in the, to looking for something motivated?
Yeah.
What I need, and he knows that. He knows exactly what we need. Yeah. So sometimes it's very sweet. Sometimes it's a little bit pushing it. Just touch the button for you to.
Yeah, it
go.
provokes you into action.
Yeah, but you have to propose yourself to that. That's the main thing. So, and the other example is here. Like, we were here in the Darshan hall, and he asked, "So you, sports guy, the concentration, the focus comes from where?" And I was like, I have to play this game now, because if I will not answer that comes from the mind, I'm being a liar, because it's exactly what I'm thinking. But I understood immediately at that time that was not the correct answer. Mm. And I was like, it comes from the mind. And he said, wrong. I was like, okay, so now teach me. Why is wrong? And it's so simple. It's just said, you are 100% focused only when you are doing what you love. And I was like, whoa. So the concentration, the focus comes from the heart, because it's when you love, it's from the heart, not from the mind.
Amazing.
And whoa. This guy is a good coach. But I use, it's a practical thing.
Very, very.
So I arrived to my club and I just use it.
Where does focus come from?
Exactly. And they said, from the mind, because they are used to, hey, be focused. And we do the gesture even. Yeah, be focused. Yeah,
you see the coach sometimes going to the player.
Come on, yeah. And I said, from the heart. Yeah, because you love football. You love to play football, yeah? Yeah, we love. So you will not think anything else if you play with the heart, because you love what you are doing, so just love. Another teaching, the shortest one and one of the biggest impact. So just love. And we went for the game. We were in the middle of the game, and I called the guy to substitute another guy. Yeah, so the player that stays on the bench to explain a little bit about football. The player that stays on the bench, coach called. Okay, you will replace that guy. And I said, okay, tactically you play here and and I said, okay, enjoy. And he said to me, yeah, I will play with the heart. And I was like, that's nice, man. And I keep contact with him, with that player, and it's always the same. Like, coach, I'm practicing the teachings that you practice with me. That's, just a simple one. Yeah.
No, it makes me think immediately. So you were saying, you got this from Guruji, this expression, what focus comes from, whatever. But really, he's trying to focus you more on the heart. I mean, really, he's trying to move you from here to here, as he does with all of us. And then you transmit it, and then it makes an impact, it makes something, a connection to that player. I remember you telling me, Rui Patricio, when you taught him Atma Kriya, that he was practicing for quite some time before he met Guruji. So maybe you just share from your side, like how that happened, because the point I want to make is that his experience meeting Guruji and how that connected to Atma Kriya, because it's actually, I think a very similar point, which is sometimes we put them in touch with something. A person can get in touch with a part of the teaching, and we think, oh, but it's just a teaching. It'd be nice if they would really go deeper and take more or whatever. But I think sometimes we underestimate how much he is present in the teaching as well. So maybe just share how.
Yeah, he always says one thing that we know that is an amazing thing, that I share this in my courses also, or in the clubs, in football clubs, etc. Like, he provides us first the experience. Yeah, so the knowledge come based on the experience that we have, but then the knowledge increase your experience because you have something to land and to, how to say, open your experience even more. So let's give a practical example. So first, Rui was, okay, let's do the Atma Kriya Yoga course. Why not? Yeah. I remember when we teach Om chanting, it's like 45 minutes chanting Om. But what I like in Rui Patrício is like, let's do it. Okay. He was like the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like, oh, yeah. And then he just told me, like, whoa, it's amazing. Yeah. So first thing, you have to be open for the experience. Yeah. He was. Then he started to practice Atma Kriya Yoga. So Atma Kriya Yoga is for you to become aware of to have the awareness of your, your soul, Atma, that it's really who you are in your actions, okay? So divine love, because there is no difference between love and Atma Kriya Yoga. Put it in that way. So Rui starts to practice Atma Kriya Yoga, and the first, after the first month, he came to me and said, oh, this puts me more tired. And I was like, I don't believe so much in that, but just let me double check, okay? So I went to Guruji and said, I have an Atma Kriya Yoga student that is saying he's an athlete, and so he's saying that this Atma Kriya Yoga gives him the feeling of tiredness. He feels tired for the game, even. And Guruji just said, and that's Guruji. Like, he just looked at, he said, no, first, you can trust. It's 100% positive. But let's make it progressively. Like, it's 5 rounds, the main Kriya, that you can go until 5 rounds. But tell him to do just 1 round per day. And drink a glass of water after. I was like, I never understood that teaching, but okay. Okay, so he starts to do 1 round during 1 year. Every day. It's a sports guy, Discipline, yeah. So every day he was doing, and he was like confident, like, wow, it's amazing, and so on. Then after this 1 year, he was at home with us, taking dinner, and we challenged him, like, come on, man, it's like 1 year, 1 round, come on, let's do the 5 rounds all together here. Yeah. And he said, yeah, okay, why not? So we did it. And he just, wow, he was like overwhelmed, like, wow, yeah, this is amazing. Then a few time after, Guruji came to Portugal to give the Darshan, and he proposed himself to go to the Darshan also. Yeah, you remember? He was in a suit.
He came. It was so sweet. So Rui Patrício came to the Darshan in Portugal, like obviously not knowing how to dress for something like this. He came in a suit,
but
shirt.
Out of respect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was just, it was really good. It was funny.
It was nice. And Guruji just gave him like a Darshan. Like normally Guruji average like 30 seconds, 1 minute in each person or something. He was like 2 minutes, like, yeah. And then Rui just came in my direction after the Darshan. Immediately just came from Guruji, and he was like. And I was like, okay, just sit, enjoy a little bit, 5 minutes, then we speak. Okay. And he was there. He came, and I was curious, like, so what happened? And he said, it's incredible. And I was waiting some sharing that we all know, that was love, look, etc. He sees me inside, this kind of things. Yeah? And it's just shared so practical that I use it every courses. It's from that time that he just said, what I'm practicing every day, when I practice what I feel, it's exactly what I felt now in the Darshan. It's such a love that I'm feeling then when I'm practice, and this love, I recognize it now through his look.
The same experience from practicing the Kriya and getting the Darshan.
So, Guruji always said, there is no difference between me and Atma Kriya Yoga. And this is one of the proof, like a person that didn't know that sentence, okay, or didn't remember because the course was 1 year before, so had that experience. So when the point here to conclude this point is like, when you open yourself to love, to the love, you are more close to being yourself. Because we believe that we are also love, and we are all love and a part of that whole. And if you are being yourself, you are more prepared to have the experiences that someone that wants you to develop yourself, it will be much more faster. And this will happen with a football player or with any person in our life. So just to conclude, this is that way that we were speaking, that the focus comes from the heart. This experience, I don't see any difference between the experience with him, practical experience or personal experience, and the Atma Kriya Yoga, what I'm practicing, my meditation every day. So that is love, that I'm feeling is love, yeah? And he's amazing, because he came to me, like Guruji came to me after and said, it's so, that friend that came in a strange clothes, like a little bit, and we said, it was also respect for you, Guruji. I said, no, it was nice. And I said, the highest quality that I recognize on him is like, he's so humble. He's so humble. And Guruji said, yes, it is. He is. Invite him to come to take dinner. And then you know the story. 2016 and Hero Cup, you were there.
Yeah. But I think really what I wanted you to share that is because, as I was saying earlier, I think we have so many restrictive ideas in our minds. Like, I know really good people, like good devotees, good people, really pure intentions, and they're very clear in their heads that I want people to meet Guruji. I want people to meet Guruji. Guruji changed my life. He's the best. I really want people to meet him. But they don't necessarily always, in my opinion, manifest that intention in the best way, because they're so fixed on I need them to meet Guruji that they sometimes fail to see or value, maybe correctly value, the ways Guruji has expanded himself in a way in this world. Because I'm not gonna dive into some impersonalism, of course not. Like, Guruji is a person, and he has a personality, and he is important to understand and experience in that way also. But when you say something like that, I am non-different from Atma Kriya. When Guruji says that, I try to understand that statement like in a deeper way, because clearly he's not a bunch of yogic techniques, right? But it's what is the purpose of Atma Kriya Yoga? To know yourself, and as a result of knowing yourself, experience your divine love, your capacity to love, your relationship that you naturally have with God. This is the thing. You don't need to do that much coaching or teaching about your relationship with God, because we believe philosophically that the Atma is Nitya Das. It's an eternal servant of God, whether you know it, don't know it. And so the more you just start to awaken that presence, the more you start to identify with the soul, your relationship with God naturally starts to emerge. It naturally starts to flourish. And so what does Guruji do? The same. He gradually uncovers what is covering our soul. He shows us who we are, and our relationship starts to naturally emerge. And so, for my understanding, when he says I am the same as Atma Kriya, it's because they do the same thing. They're trying to achieve the same thing. The personal Guruji and the techniques, they're both aiming for the one same thing. There's no agenda. There's no alternative motive or whatever. It's Atma Kriya is there to discover yourself, discover your divine relationship with God. Guruji, I'm here to show you yourself and, let's say, unleash your relationship with God. You wanted to say something?
Yeah. That's. I would like to stop you in the moment that you said that naturally, when we are being ourselves, naturally we share this love.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know Guruji.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you said it. It's like the purpose
part
of your
of you.
soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will open here. I think it's a good example. One day with Cristiano Ronaldo. So one day, a former player, international player, went to our camp that we had, and he was with a person that needs a big operation because his chest was growing inside, and the bones was start to pressing the heart. Yeah, so it was urgent to have that operation, but that operation was like 120,000, something like that, crazy, and because it also needs a big therapy after and recovering process, etc., etc. So he has to stay in the clinic, blah blah blah. So big amount. And this former coach, his former player, he was really doing this as a mission. He got emotional when he shared this. He didn't finish what he was asking for that person, because he starts crying and he left the room, because he said, I try everything and nobody's helping. Yeah. And I'm sorry, he starts crying, I'm sorry, I cannot handle it anymore. And he left the room, and the person was there in a wheelchair, and we were like, okay. And Paulo starts to speak and said, okay, guys, this is personal. I cannot oblige anyone here to help, but then Chris just stand up. Cristiano just stand up and said, and interrupt Paulo, like spontaneously, comes from the heart, like, oh, sorry, coach, can I speak? Yeah, you can speak. And he just said, simple, just said, guys, we have to give all our bonus game, because when we win we have some bonus, our bonus game to this person, because if we don't help him, God also will not help us. That is his concept, whatever you can discuss, but the intention, the spontaneous love that jump in that moment for that person, we have to give, because if we don't do it, God, and you just mentioned, God will not help us. So for me, there's a practical example for what you were saying, even without Guruji.
Yeah.
It's your how to say?
It's your nature.
Nature, exactly. It's your nature. So then it's up to us to challenge ourselves or to decide if we would like to know more about our nature. And then it comes the moment that you arrive, again, I come back to the point, you arrive to someone that already does it, and then...
Do you know what? I think this is super interesting, that example you gave. Because we met Cristiano Ronaldo, right?
Yeah.
Guruji, myself. And there was the question afterwards, like, because we met him, he was very polite, nice. And then afterwards I was thinking to Guruji, what happens with a guy like that? Who's so adored by people, like put on a pedestal by so many people, right? It must be really difficult for the ego, right? And Guruji said, it is, for sure it is. It's a big challenge. But none of that touches who you really are. In the essence, if you're the most famous person in the world or the least famous, it doesn't affect your nature. Your nature as a soul doesn't get touched by these things. And so he said, at any moment, his nature can still shine and can still come out, and it will come out like anybody else's. Even the most humble person you meet, it's a question of timing. It's a question of choices, right?
It's amazing.
And so what I wanted to also point out is this. We are naturally serving and loving and all of these things. And then I think there are behaviors and mentalities that can obstruct that a little bit, that can make it harder to come out. Sometimes there are behaviors and attitudes that just get out of the way and allow this to come out a bit more naturally. Like what happened in that, in my opinion, it's what happened there. It's a situation provoked his nature and his, beliefs in a sense got out of the way. And then there's a third one, which is there are certain beliefs and behaviors that even promote it, that even amplify your nature. So like there's obstruction, there's amplification, and there's this almost like neutral, just it doesn't act either way. Neither obstructs nor amplifies, right? And I think this, in a very generalized way, explains the behavior of human beings in general. That sometimes there's people who, they don't behave in a good way, but you feel like, deep down, I know this person is good. Then there's others that are like, they're just good people. They don't have like some big philosophy or practices, but you feel like they're good people. And then there's some that are living this to the max. And you look at that and you're like, whoa, this is like a role model. You know what I mean? And going back to that point of Rui saying that he experienced the same thing with the Kriya and with Guruji, I really genuinely wish that devotees, humans in general, would understand the value in teaching, in transmitting the practices and the mentalities over here that amplify who you are, that really unlock everything that you're meant to be. The value that lies in handing that to someone with such skill that the person receives it and says, yes, I want to do it. And sometimes it means that you have to give the course in a masterful way. Sometimes the course doesn't have to be so good, but you hold their hand. And for the next 6 months, you are supporting and encouraging. And maybe that's the masterful way, But there's so much glory in that, because Krishna, God, in the Bhagavad Gita, it has always stuck with me. Because he says, nobody does a greater service to me than the one who shares my teachings with the world. And I've always understood, teachings doesn't mean only spoken word. It's not the philosophy only. It's the lived example. It's the whole thing. It's the whole package. There are so many different ways. That's why I said Keymaster, right? So many different ways. But it touches me and it sits within me so deeply, this idea. If Krishna, if God, if I strip away the cultural element and I just say God is love, the deepest, most purest, highest, infinite love, right? If for people who are not ready to add a person to that love, because I'm obviously, as a Vaishnava, all of these things, we believe in a personal God. I'm having a relationship with a person. That's all clear. But many people have no idea of these things and cannot, conceptualize these things. So if I imagine it a bit differently, if love was speaking to me and love said, the best thing you can do is to share this love with someone else, then you will experience the love even more. The highest experience you can have of love is when you're sharing that love with other people, right? It makes my life so clear suddenly. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to teach. I need to share. And then everything is just about developing the tools, the skills, the wisdom, the maturity to know how to teach, when to teach, who to teach. The whole thing of like, this person I can give it in this way, this person I have to give it in this way, and being that vehicle for love. And so someone like that experience of Rui for me is the proof. Don't be so concerned, devotees, people, with saying, okay, yeah, they have Atma Kriya, but that's not enough. They need to meet Guruji. It's not so black and white. It's no. Tell them to go deeper into their japa. Tell them to go deeper into their Kriya. Tell them to go deeper into that Bhagavad Gita. Trust me, if they really do, they will want to meet him. It will happen. It's natural. It's all natural.
How many times we met people, or we are present when we see people that met Guruji, and we start, this guy just met him, or he met him once.
Yeah.
He saw him like many years ago, and you just like said like, whoa.
I have an experience that I need to share now. I was in Switzerland some years back, and there was a Darshan with Guruji, and then after the Darshan we had a little dinner. And one gentleman, like, well dressed, a little older, white hair, he came, and when he walked into the room, Guruji, his eyes just lit up, and Guruji went and stood up and greeted him, and they hugged. And I know Guruji, he's not the biggest fan of hugging. He hugs, but it's not like this tight thing. Where it's more like a, polite hug. But this hug was different. And I was sitting next to Swami Aniruddha, right? And so we're watching this and we look at each other like, whoa. And like, who is this guy? Because we didn't, at some point you've been in Bhakti Marga enough years, you kind of know everybody a little bit, or at least you're familiar with the faces or whatever. We didn't know who this guy was. And Guruji is hugging him, and Guruji closes his eyes and he's smiling. So Guruji is hugging him, smiling with his eyes closed, right? And I was like getting emotional looking at this. Because I was thinking, I want to hug like that. This is fantastic. But I was really I want to know who this man is. What's his story? Why this? And so then the hug is released. They talk a little bit. And then he says to the man, please join me for dinner. Sit down. And Guruji goes back to his chair. And I go to Guruji and I'm like, who is this guy? And he says, ask him. Like he said to me, he didn't tell me. He said, go and ask him. Talk to him. Talk to him. So we started talking to him, Aniruddha and I. And I said to him, what's your, who are you? I'm Swami Revati, whatever. We introduced ourselves, very polite guy. I said, what's your story? Like, I've never seen you before. And he said, yes. I met Guruji 13 years ago, he said. I play at an orchestra. I'm a musician. And he came to my performance. And I met him at the performance. And we had a wonderful exchange. We spoke and he really touched my heart. And he gave me a ring. And he showed the ring, right? And then he says, and I haven't seen him since. And I said, okay. And he says, but every night before I go to bed, I take off my ring and I put it on my bedside table. And when I take it off, I think of him. And in the morning when I wake up, I put on that ring and I think of him. And it brings a smile to my face. I just remember that young man that I met that touched my heart in that one meeting. And I do this every day. And so today my friend said he's coming to Switzerland and they invited me and I said, yes, I would love to come. And that's it. That's the end of the story. And I heard this and I was just like, man, this guy met him once, recognized that something touched his heart and valued it enough, understood that this is something he wants to continue to feel and experience. And so every day for 13 years, he started and finished his day thinking of him. And not him the person in a sense, because he didn't know him. He had like a few moments with him. He didn't know him. But what that person represented for him, what he felt with that person, the love, right? So he woke up and went to bed thinking of that love every day. And then I see how Guruji welcomed him, how Guruji got up and went and hugged him and closed his eyes with that deep smile. And I think, and then we all get caught in these external games like that. Oh, if I've been next to Guruji for 10 years having lunch and dinner, I am therefore so advanced. That guy is advanced. Like this is, and you see the recognition of Guruji in that, And this is why I just wish we would all understand these principles more deeply. That Guruji is an embodiment of that divine love. I have no doubts in my heart and mind about that. But that divine love is transmissible, it's contactable through so many different things. It has manifested itself in so many different ways. Like sometimes people treat it like tradition. We say that the Bhagavad Gita is not a book, for example. In our tradition, we say the Bhagavad Gita is not a book. And Guruji gets upset if people call it a book. He said Bhagavad Gita is like a literary incarnation of God in a book form, but that's God in there, right? And people think, okay, that's just sort of Hindu tradition, we worship these things. And I said, no. It means that if you give it the right importance and you relate yourself to it in that way, like you really dive into this, you can find God in here. You can get love from this. It will help do what Atma Kriya helps you do. It will help do what Guruji helps you do. Show you who you are. And then naturally your love will come.
Yeah, I asked him once to bless my Bhagavad Gita. And he just said to me, it's God. Why I have to bless?
There's nothing to bless there. But yeah. And this is what I mean. I really take that verse to heart. Krishna says, there is no greater service to me and there is nobody dearer. This is the second part. there's no better service than teaching this to others, and nobody is dearer to me, closer to me in a sense, than the one who teaches
And
this.
he mirrors that.
Yeah.
Like he just did with that person. We are in the process to build an ashram in Portugal. Yeah, so we are in 2024. I'm saying this because we will see this podcast in 10 years after. We are in the process. We both participate with all the Portuguese
team,
people, and
all the devotees.
All the devotees is a house for everyone.
Yeah.
Not only for the teachers or for the brahmacharis or for the monks. It's a house for everyone, and it's amazing how people that doesn't know Guruji is going there, because we are in the beginning, so we have to construction, painting,
cleaning, gardening, yeah.
And there are people that just go there that even doesn't know him. Like, wow, yeah. And when I arrived here this week, and I opened the door, it just saw me. And he was so excited.
Guruji, yeah.
He was like a child, man. Like, how about the Portuguese ashram? I'm watching the videos, so everyone is there and everyone is happy. I can see that you chant, that you guys are painting. Yeah, you are painting, you're very bad painting. He was so excited.
Yeah.
That's love, man. It's like, this is an expression of love. That person thinks about love every morning and every evening because he had that love contact with him, meeting. These people going to serve in the ashram out of love. Out of love. Like, I had an Atma Kriya yoga student. She came to help us, and she said, my husband knows about illiteracy. He says, okay, so just come to take lunch with us. And he went for the lunch with us. We offered the lunch. And he was there the 2 weekends after, 9 to 6, fixing all the electricity. It's like, it's because he felt the love that how we were doing that service. No matter what, it's in the ashram, can be anything in your life. And this is attract because, like we said, it's relatable. Love is relatable with love to achieve the love. Yeah, so if it is relatable, I'm attracted, so I want to be here. Thank you. So we love that you love to be here. So thank you very much. Yeah. And we were, all of us, we are able to do it, like you said. I can give an example to you. Like, when I was doing my meditation, I spent 1 month every day thinking about the person that I will meet in a meeting, and I will crash him. Like, I had some problems. Because I think it's important for us to say this. Like you said, we have to be honest what we are. And we are the love part, and we are that obstacles that you just mentioned.
Mentalities, behaviors, different things that are in the way.
Yeah. And it was an obstacle for me. Because of this guy that is doing that judgment and a lot of pride, my pride, I'm better than him, or whatever. It was 1 month in my meditation.
Conflict.
I was like, come on, I can think about this after this meditation, but not in my meditation. So it was 1 month in a row every day. In a certain moment, I said, oh, okay, who cares? But he was there. These thoughts were there. Arrived the day of the meeting. Let's do it. Yeah. I don't have even his phone number, for you to see how kind of relationship I have with him. Yeah. But I like him. Huh? But in that moment, we were in the tense moment. Yeah. And I was in the meeting, and he was late for the meeting. Whoa, what a nice excuse. Let's do it. Yeah. I was prepared, man. I was really prepared. Because I'm stupid like that. Yeah, like, let's fight. Yeah, stupidity. But okay. He opened the door, he came in. And I was like, whoa, what? And my thought, literally was, I love this guy. It starts like I will kill this guy. And when he opens the door, he goes, I love this guy. And my look was like, hello, Jigdev. He was like, tin, tin, tin. He said, and my heart was like, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, and in my mind was like, I love this guy. I love him. Boom, boom. I was like, whoa. Then we finished the meeting. He stand up. He passes for me and says, you want to take coffee? And I was like, yeah, okay,
let's go for a coffee.
The conclusion is that I arrived here in the ashram and I shared this with Guruji. It's like, Guruji, 1 month, Atma Kriya, this happens. But when he came in, it was like, my heart was literally like pumping. Yeah. And Guruji said something like that, according to the obstacles that we have. And he said, look, all of you are able to take out the curtains in front of your eyes and look to the people in that way. You have the choice. It's like, okay. So, like Gita said, you know the human condition.
Yeah.
You want to move on that? In chapter 2 is very clear. We know sense objects, anger, etc. You want to behave like this human condition, or you want to get out of this human condition and try to have these behaviors less and less and understand why you have it. It's an opportunity that God, Bhagavad Gita, is giving to you to overtake that human condition and always acting with your soul, with your love, like Cristiano did, like this gentleman did, like any one of us sometimes do it. And when you open yourself to that and you have this kind of experiences, that's what holds us. And I want more. Now, come on. Yeah, I'm upset, I'm stressed, I'm angry or frustrated. No. I want that. And you have the tools. You have the tools because you share the tools. And then, yeah. And with football players is exactly the same. Anxiety, you see them anxious before the games, in the training sessions, because it will be a good game, because the opponent is very good, because I'm not in the good shape, because of whatever.
So many things.
Emotion, collapse, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, yeah. But just do your duty, man. Yeah, I remember with Rui in Euro Cup 2012, penalty shooting against Spain semifinals, 60,000 in the stadium. Amazing environment, amazing game. 90 minutes extra time, and then penalty shooting. Spain was World Cup was champions and Euro Cup champions, so they were like one of the main. They were the main national team in the world at the moment, and we made an amazing game, very balanced and so on. And before the penalty shooting, I just picked him and I said, look, now be aware of everything that is around you now. Just feel the noise, just feel the people, just feel the pressure. Yeah, because it's a semi-final that can give us the final. Yeah, just feel it. And we stayed there 1 minute in silence. And then said, okay, you did it? Okay, yeah. So now get everything out, because it's your emotions we will connect with that. And you see that desk there, it's a penalty shooting. Yeah. How many times you did it? I said, millions. Yeah, so it's just one more. And no matter what happened in that desk, if you concede the goal or if you save it, the ball, finish the task immediately, you will have another penalty shooting after. So don't be happy, don't be sad, just do your duty, do your dharma, do like Krishna said to Arjuna, just do whatever you have to do. You are here to do that. Yeah? And he saved the first penalty, like Xavi Alonso. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he saved it. And it was amazing to see, like, boom. Yeah. We lost. But when you change, I come back to the beginning. When you change the goal, when you change the aim of your life, and you don't recognize, you don't validate yourself about the external results regarding your career and so on, you know that you are in the path. And if you are in the path with a good goal, allowing yourself to make your mistakes and learn from that, and continue with your will to do the best actions as possible to achieve that goal, you will be always succeed. You will be always succeed. Even if you don't achieve the goal yet.
Yeah.
You are achieving in your phase now.
Yeah.
Your present phase.
Beautiful. It's been really nice.
Nice.
It's been really nice to share and talk a little bit about this. Of course, I know, a lot about your life and these exchanges that we've had, but I think it's really nice to share this with people. And it's sometimes, it's funny how people think these worlds are all so separated. The business world, the sports world, the family life, and then spirituality. Like it's all like some segments that are completely separate and have no overlap. And it's like,
now I have to share the story.
Go.
Sorry.
Go.
Because it's exactly what you are saying. Look, this guy here was the person that convinced me to become a devotee of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. Yeah? And it's like we shared a lot of things and moments at blah, blah, blah. And we were in 2016, I believe, so 4 years after we met Guruji. Guruji was staying in our place. We were, according to the teachings that Guruji is sharing. So everything was there. And Swami Revatikaanta came to me and said, I'm not understand why you are not a devotee. And out of arrogance, of course, I said, where I'm full in all the initiations, I don't need it. I'm already Atma Kriya Yoga teacher and so on. It's okay. And you said we were 1 hour and a half speaking. Yeah. And Bhakti Dasi, that is my wife. So Natasha, for many people that knows her, and Bhakti Dasi, she was on my side and she said, I will not become a devotee. And I was saying, me neither. I will not. We don't need.
Everything's fine. Everything's good. Relationship is there. There's no need.
Man. Like Guruji is staying in our place. Blah, 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 blah. So we stay 1 hour and a half. And after we say no so many times, you came to me and said, okay, can you allow me to say one thing, bro? And I said, yeah, of course, bro. Just say it. And you said, you are so stupid, man.
I did.
Because I was dividing, like you were saying. I was dividing the two worlds, if we can call the two worlds. I was dividing. And you said, and it was stupid. And when you finish, you are so stupid. And I was like, tomorrow you can initiate me. Yeah? So the key thing for that, you call me stupid and I become a devotee because of that.
And so did your wife.
Yeah, because then we went to Guruji after, you went to Guruji in the day after and he said, but my wife said, me no.
Yeah,
so, okay, it's your path. And you came to Guruji and you said to him by the way, Guruji, today I will initiate Sitaram as a devotee. And Guruji said, oh, no. I will initiate him and Bhakti
and his wife, yeah. Initiate both.
And you just came to both of us and you said, oh, guys, just to mention, Guruji just said that he will initiate you and you. And now if you don't want it, please tell him. So we got both initiated
together. Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, that made me think, because I was thinking also your son who also got initiated. He wants to come on this podcast. He wants to do it. Yeah. It was his birthday, and I said to him, what would you like?
Oh, really?
And I was like, I can buy you some shoes, something nice like this, And he says to me, you know what I want for my birthday? I want to go on your podcast.
Whoa, birthday gift.
And I was thinking, damn, that's hard to refuse. And I was thinking, what are we going to talk about? Get some good stories, get some content, live some life, and then we can come and talk. Your son is what, 18?
18 now,
yeah.
You'll have some stories.
Yeah, no, for sure. So after, this can be the trailer that Gonzalo can, Sridhar, he can come.
He will enjoy For sure.
And then your daughter,
It will be enjoyable for sure.
I'm Sitaram's daughter's godfather. And I said to her, what about you? And she was just like, no, me no. Didn't want to be on the podcast. Yeah, that'd be cool. Tell Bhakti Dasi to work on her English, and then she should come here and sit with me as well.
For sure.
Yeah, would be awesome.
That story that the airport, you can share it. It's like
she has cool stories.
Yeah.
You have a lovely family, really, truly.
Thank you.
Anyway, it was really wonderful. I hope to do more of these in the future.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Amazing. Thank you very much. Jai Gurudev.